What's going on, everybody? It's Andy here and welcome to my Game Week 30 preview, a weekly video just taking you through the points for the upcoming game week in a bit of a shorter format to the streams. Then I'll have a quick look at my team, transfers, captains, the usual stuff. For anyone that hasn't watched it yesterday, I did a stream with Matt Carney, who's currently number 10 in the world. So once you've watched this video, go and check that one out if you haven't already. Kind of just went through his season and his kind of thoughts for the rest of the season there. How he's going to get to number 1 and eventually win it. Obviously, this is going out on a Thursday. I usually stream on Thursday, but because I did that one yesterday, I didn't want to do a third stream this week. I didn't think there was too much value in it. So just wanted to get out this video and yeah, talk about the coming week in a bit of a shorter format. So we'll just jump straight into it. A few things to talk about. Obviously, we're getting closer and closer to the blank now in Game Week 31. It's nearly over. It feels like a bit of a hassle at this point than anything else, but a few points to talk about. So let's just talk about them now. So this is my team for this week. We'll come to that in a minute. Go through the points first. So I got 55 points in Game Week 29, which was just another okay game week. It was a green arrow this time. I think that's my first one in like 6 weeks. I've had a lot of red arrows recently. So it's a green arrow to only 70,986. So still a long way off the 10k target that I'd like to get. I mean, ideally I'd love to come top 5k, which would equal what I got last year. But I don't think that's going to happen at this point. I think top 10k is probably a more realistic aim. I'm far off that, but with all the chips, double game weeks and stuff, I'm hoping I can give myself a bit of a boost starting this week, hopefully, and kind of just go from there. So that's what I'm looking for that for last week. Then we're going to come on to this week. So I'm going to go through the points first, as always, and then take you through my team. So Game Week 30 is looking a bit tricky, I think, for a lot of people because you're either in two minds. You either want to bring players in who are going to play in Game Week 31, i.e. they're not going to blank, or you're looking at players maybe that have got a really good fixture this week, but then are going to not get points next week. So it's whether or not you want to take them back out for another transfer. So it's one transfer in, one transfer out, or you want to put them in your team and then not go for a blank player. So as an example, I've got Mahrez. People are looking at bringing him in this week because he's got a really good fixture against West Brom away. Obviously, he's going to score no points in 31, so your total score for him over 2 game weeks, unless you spend an additional transfer, is whatever he gets this week. So it's to sum up, you'd have to basically look at your own team, see how many players you've already got for the blank. Are you happy with that? How many do you want to get in? Are you happy to take a few hits maybe? Most people, to be honest, don't think that hits are worth it for Game Week 31. Not necessarily just because it's a blank, but because of the way the fixtures fall and the players on offer. And to be honest, I would probably agree the safer strategy is probably to limit the amount of hits in 31 and probably aim for about 7 or 8 players. I think that's what the majority of FPL managers will go for, that at least have been paying attention. Now, I'll probably go for more than that because I like having as full 11 as possible. And I don't mind taking a few hits and taking a bit of a risk to get to that. But that's how I play. I don't think it's the safest play. It can reap rewards. It did for me last year. It doesn't mean it will this year. So we'll see about that. But if you're going to bring in players with a blank in 31, make sure you sum up your team now and see if you're happy with how it's going to look in 31 or whether you're happy to spend extra transfers. So you've got to look at your own team. But it's tricky because, you know, we want Liverpool players, but they've got Man United away this week. We want players without a blank in 31. Now, there's only 2 teams really from the teams that don't blank who have good fixtures this week. So that's Everton with Brighton at home, and then Huddersfield, who I think is Swansea at home, followed by then Crystal Palace at home in the blank. So you could look at players from there. So I've got Huddersfield on the points to go through. So in defence, you've got someone like Schindler. He's getting a lot of attention right now. Huddersfield haven't kept a huge amount of clean sheets, but with the fixtures they've got, the next 2, it looks like a good bet, I think. And then attacking wise, you've got Mooney up front. I don't know if that's a risk, but I just think there's potentially better options, especially in Game Week 31. Even Deeney's in really good form right now, although his fixtures aren't quite as good as Mooney. And then in midfield, so for some cheaper options, you've got Pritchard. You'll have to just keep an eye on him because he did get a dead leg in the last match. So wait and see for news on him. And then Van La Parra is only like 4.8 million. So he plays more out on the left, I believe. So I'm looking at him maybe a straight swap for Ibe, for example, because he's got a nice fixture this week and then a blank, non-blank fixture in 31. So Huddersfield worth looking at. And then the other team really is Everton. So their Game Week 31 fixture is not as good. It's Stoke away, and Everton have been pretty poor on the road. But obviously, you got the advantage that they are going to play in 31. And then this week in Game Week 30, they got Brighton at home. So I'm looking at a player like Walcott, for example, to bring in. I've already got 2, Pickford and Baines. I'm not going to get into that too much because if you've been watching my streams and follow me on like the Scoutcast and stuff like that, then you'll already know how I ended up with Baines. It was bad. Bad decision, but hopefully if he plays this week and next week, it will come good. But you know, if you're going to look at a defender, you're probably going to look at someone like Coleman, who's got more attacking potential right now. And then, yeah, forwards, probably Sigurdsson and Walcott. You could look at Nias, but there's no guarantee he starts. Same with Tozen. He looks okay right now for starts, but that could easily switch. So I think Walcott and Sigurdsson pretty much guaranteed to play, so you could get them in this week for Brighton at home. And then obviously they've got a fixture in Game Week 31. Even if it's not the best and they've not been the best away from home, if you're really eager to make a transfer this week, then I'd look at one of those. For me, I'm probably going to bring Walcott, but I'll come on to that soon. And then Sterling and Man City in general. So I've got Sterling. I've held on to him through all these, basically the games that he hasn't played over the last 3 weeks, I think it is now. Mostly that's because there's been no guarantee that he's going to be out. First of all, there was training pictures. He's back in training, and then he wasn't in the squad. And then that's happened again this week. And it's a bit of a tricky spot now for people with Sterling because he's got Stoke away, which is the best fixture he's had for a couple of game weeks. But there's no guarantee he plays. Now, for me, I'm pretty much going to get rid of him unless Pep Guardiola comes out and says he's 100% going to play, which is so unlikely. Even if he was fit, he'd probably say he'll make an appearance or he'll be in the squad or something like that. No manager comes out generally and says he's 100% going to play. So I've pretty much said I'm going to get rid of him. I know some people are concerned about money. I've got a lot of money tied up in him, but if he stays injured, he's going to come down in price. He's got no fixture in 31. They've almost secured the league. They're through in Europe. So once the league's wrapped up, you think that maybe Pep Guardiola will start to rotate a bit more. Plus, Man City, they've got other options. You've got Sané and David Silva. And even Bernardo Silva, if he plays instead of Sterling, all look really good right now. So they've got their own options to play, and we've got different options to pick. So I think I'm getting rid of Sterling. I just think now's the time with the blank and potentially not. I think he'll get back into the team because he's played so well this year. It's just how many minutes and stuff will he get. And he's been out for so long, he may not come straight back into the team. May need a bit to get up to match fitness. And the other thing, like, it feels a bit like, if you remember Danny Rose last year, we kept hearing that he was back in training, and you know, maybe he wasn't as maybe he was more injured than Sterling was, but it just feels like a very similar situation where Sterling is just not going to come back, and there's more to it than Guardiola's letting on. So I think I'm going to get rid of him this week. If you think he's going to play, then you could keep, because obviously it's a good fixture, but I think now is not the worst time to look at getting rid of him, especially if you want someone like Walcott in your team. And then City in general, yeah, so, I mean, I'll talk about Aguero captain first. So this week, Aguero didn't start in the Champions League, so he got a bit of a rest. Jesus played instead. Obviously, they lost, but they were already through. Most people are not going to captain Salah this week. It's Man United away. I think that's fair enough. I think, yes, he could score. He'll probably get some kind of points, even if it's just an assist. But obviously, Mourinho's going to come and park the bus. There's no way he's going to want to lose against Liverpool. So I don't think captain Salah's a good idea this week, personally. I don't think it's crazy to do it. I just don't think it's the right move. So I'm looking at Kane. But if I had Aguero, I'd definitely be looking at him. He's had a rest. He's playing Stoke away. Now, again, Stoke have been defending a bit better recently, but it's Man City. Who can stop Man City? Not many teams. We'll see if they sit back or they come out attacking Stoke. I just think Aguero, rested Aguero in really good form, pretty much guaranteed to play, I'd say, with Jesus playing in the Champions League. Obviously, Pep wants to now get the league wrapped up, the Premier League wrapped up, that is, as soon as possible. So I would be looking at Aguero captain if I had him. In general, those City assets, because of the similar things I spoke about with Sterling, with the fixtures they got coming up, concentrating on Europe, not concentrating so much on the league maybe, I think there could be more rotation as he saves them for Europe. And then it's gonna cause problems. We thought he was going to rotate throughout the season. He hasn't really. Players like Davern have played pretty much every single game. Aguero's played most of the games when he's been fit. So I don't think right now there's a huge issue with that, but maybe after the blank fixture when we're looking to wildcard, I may go without any Man City players. Now, I don't know for sure if that's going to be the case. I may punt on one like Sané, for example, and hope that he's going to play because they haven't got many left-sided players. But I think in general I'm going to probably avoid most Man City players, so I think there could be a rotation. So keep an eye on that. You don't need to worry about it right now, but in the coming weeks have a look at that. And then obviously if you're looking at getting rid of Sterling or captain Aguero, definitely consider that. And then the last point to touch on this week, really, there wasn't too many points I didn't think to talk about. There's not been a huge amount of news. If I've missed something, let me know. But I don't think there's too much big news this week. So Spurs went out of the Champions League last night to Juventus. So they will now not be in the Champions League. They've still got FA Cup to contend with, so we may see some rotation, especially as they get later into that. I think Pochettino will definitely obviously want to win a trophy because he's not done it yet. Spurs haven't won one for a while, so I think you've got to look out for that. But we know that Kane gets played virtually every game, or every game, to be fair. It's not very often he gets rested at all in the Premier League. Same for Eriksen and Ali. I think now they're at the Champions League. Yes, they're going to want to win their FA Cup, but they have got to come in the top 4 to get Champions League again next year. And given the competition there, they're going to want to do it. They've got Arsenal not playing great, Chelsea a little bit far behind, but they've got to make sure they cement that spot before they start concentrating on the FA Cup. So now Champions League's out of the way, and obviously I'm sure they didn't expect to win it, but it would have been nice to go further. I think Spurs looking really good options right now, especially in the wildcard after the blank game week. You may even look at tripling on Spurs players. Someone like Ben Davies now may play even more because he hasn't got Europe to worry about. So definitely have a look at Spurs players. I think this week I'm going to captain Kane. I mean, I look at my team, who else could I captain? Probably Eriksen or Mahrez, and I just think Kane's the best option. If I had Aguero, I would be seriously tempted. I wouldn't like to back against Kane, especially against a Bournemouth team that do like to concede goals. I just think Aguero and Man City have been consistent all season. So Kane, definitely a great captain choice, but I think Aguero could be a better one. Let me know what you think. If you've got Aguero and Kane, who are you captaining this week? So I won't go through each position of my team. I'll just go through my kind of thought process for transfers. So I've got Ibe. Now, he's similar to Sterling in that I thought he was going to be okay last week. I didn't necessarily think he would start, but I thought he'd be back in the squad. Then he missed out again. So I don't think he's going to come back into the first 11, even though he's got a blank fixture. I'm going to maybe look at getting rid of him. So I think Stanislas and King behind a striker is kind of how Eddie Howe's lining up right now. So Ibe's a problem. Obviously, Crouch, Juve is out now, I think. I don't know how long he's injured for. I'd have to double check that. But Crouch usually gets a couple of minutes, so he's usually good for a point or two. So that might not sound very good now, but in Game Week 31, that could be pretty beneficial. But he's obviously no help to me coming off the bench if he's not going to score points. So Ibe and Sterling are my biggest concerns. I'm pretty sure I'm going to do Sterling to Walcott. I think Brighton at home is a good fixture, and I'm happy enough to have him for the blank game week, even if he doesn't produce points. At least I can say I tried. And then Ibe, now it depends. If I get rid of him this week, I might take a hit for Pritchard or Van La Parra from Huddersfield. If I save, then that kind of changes things completely because I'll be doing Eriksen to Mane and maybe Mahrez for Shaqiri, something like that, which will give me money to upgrade Ibe. So I'm probably going to take a 4 or 8 point hit next week to bring my player total up for Game Week 31. But exactly what I'll do, I'll have to wait and see. But that's kind of my thinking right now. So Sterling to Walcott is pretty much guaranteed, unless Pep guarantees that Sterling's going to play, or obviously Walcott gets an injury or something, which we hear about in a press conference or press release, and then I maybe to a Huddersfield player. But otherwise, my team's looking pretty okay this week fixture-wise. It depends whether Baines plays. Can Everton actually keep a clean sheet? I've got myself into a stupid position where I have double Everton defenders, which isn't good, but that's where I am. I'm going to keep playing it. I'm not that bothered if Duffy comes off the bench because he's got a bit of goal threat. He got the assist at the weekend, which was really nice. So that's my team, captaincy, transfer decisions. Anything I've missed or anything you want to ask, put it in the comments below. It'd be much appreciated. Let me know what you thought of the top 10 manager stream as well. It'd also be good to know whether you like, for those of you that watch the streams, whether you like them where I'm on my own and answering questions from the chat, or more pre-submitted questions but have other people on with me. So be interested to know that. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff's always appreciated. Let you know when the next videos and stuff are going live. And likes are always helpful to get the videos out there to other people. Otherwise, I'm going to leave it there. Good luck in Game Week 30. Hopefully you do really well. Come on, Kane captain. And I really want Theo Walcott to do well more than anyone. Although a Baines penalty wouldn't go amiss. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers all.